Hari Om, Namaste to all. Welcome to our Sunday Prakarana Grantha session. Hari Om. So let us enter into our vijñānamayakośaḥ today and see what this sheath is, level of covering. So we'll begin with our opening prayers and also the invocation verses of the Vivekacūḍāmaṇi and Tattvabodha. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madhacharya Varam Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So we were seeing the koshas, doing kosha vichara. And we had finished finally the manomaya kosha, which was really elaborately studied in depth and also elaborated upon by Adi Shankaracharya in his Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. Now, vijñānamayakośaḥ also covers about 4 to 5 verses, and we will get through as many as we can today. But one thing we understand is that vijñāna and mana are very much intertwined. We'll see all of these are not separate koshas, they are different forms of thought. So vijñānamaya and manomaya are just different types of thinking that happens in every human being's mind. In Tattvabodha, he explains, the author, he asks, vijñānamayaḥ kaha? The disciple asks the guru. He says, buddhijñānendriyapañcakaṁ militvā yo bhavati sa vijñānamayakośaḥ. And the same he had said for manomayakośaḥ. It is also this vijñānendriyapañcakaṁ militvā. So we'll see what that means in a little while. But let's understand what is this vijñānamaya. So it is the knowledge layer of one's personality. It is that which makes the definiteness in life, that which gives you knowledge of external world, that gives you knowledge also of your own mind. So these are the thoughts that help you to know something in life. The manaha aspect are thoughts that are, we saw, desiring, the oscillating, vacillating, those type of doubtful thoughts are in the manaha aspect of thinking. But vijñānamayaḥ is that it's the one that concludes, the one that says, yes, this is it, right? So it's called nishchayatmika antahkarana vrittihi. Nishchayatmika antahkarana vrittihi means that thought form of definiteness. So here, this is where we, in the Shastra, we try and encourage this form of thinking in us, because this is the form that can manage the manaha aspect. So we'll see why this form, this vijñānamayakośaḥ is very important, although it is an error we commit because it's included in the koshas. It's still an error we commit on this level. But you need Vijnanamaya to understand other koshas and to do discriminative analysis between what Atma is and what Anatma is. So Vijnanamaya, having helped you to discover the truth of the self, Vijnanamaya also is falsified. So mind, Vijnanamaya, is an expression of your power of knowing. So, before desiring, what is the power that arises first? What is the thought before desire? You have to know something in order to desire, right? You can't desire for something you don't know. So I can't just, Swamiji used to say, Guba Badan or something. He used to say some word. Somebody tells you this Guba Badan is very nice. What will you do? Will you desire for that? You don't know what it is. So once you know of a thing only, you can desire for it. So the statement here is desire always comes after knowledge. So knowledge of something comes first. The vritti that gives you the knowledge of something comes first, and then you develop a desire for it. If you don't know of anything, you can't desire. So this is called Jnana Shakti in us, right? So Jnana Shakti gives rise to Ichcha Shakti, which is the power of desire, which gives rise to, once there is desire, can you just keep quiet? Can you keep still and just say, oh, I have these desires in my mind? And just, just keep quiet and just enjoy watching the desires in the mind. Can we do that? No. Because immediately when the desire comes, Kriya Shakti becomes active, our power of activity, because we want to fulfill the desire. We want to experience what the mind is telling us will happen if I fulfill the desire, which again, the mind, what will it tell you? If you fulfill this desire, then you will feel happy, you will feel fulfilled, you will feel content. Every mind works like that. That is why they call desires. Because along with the desire thought comes what? The need for fulfillment, the need for happiness, the need to be peaceful. It doesn't come just by itself, desire thought. That need backs the desire. When the need backs the desire, then only you have to act it out. See, a wise person may have desire, but he doesn't have the need backing desire. He can live, life fulfilling desires without need. You see the difference. For the human being, we have the need backing the desire, so we have to fulfill the desire for happiness. A wise person will act on desires out of happiness. There is a difference of preposition here, which makes all the difference. One is for happiness, which is the ignorant people act for happiness, for the sake of happiness. Wise person acts out of happiness. So anyway, Vijñānamayakośaḥ, very interesting kosha. He first introduces it in, I've sent the verses, 184th verse of this Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. He says, buddhirbuddhīndriyaiḥ sārdhaṃ savṛttiḥ kartṛlakṣaṇaḥ vijñānamayakośaḥ syātpuṃsaḥ saṃsārakāraṇam. So again, going along with the Tattvabodha, he says that the intellect with its modifications, along with the organs of perception, are the components of the vijñānamayakośaḥ. And as I said, the mind and intellect are always together. This is something very important. They are never separate. They are just different types of thoughts that are happening. See, if we see the definition of mind given, manomaya given in Tattvabodha, he says, manascha jnānendriyapañcakaṁ militvā yo bhavati, this manomaya mind combining with 5 sense organs, this 5 organs of knowledge is called manomaya. So what is the difference then? See, when we think, when we look at the external world, the mind is just the instrument for registration of the data the sense organs bring in. That's why the sense organs and mind are brought together. What registers the data brought in by the sense organs? It is the mind. Otherwise, sense organs can keep bringing data, but if mind is not there to register, then knowledge doesn't happen. So in fact, all three go together. The mind is the registration of that data. It is registered there. But without knowledge, you don't know how to translate that data. We in our interactional world, all we do, all our interactions are based on data translation, right? So sense organs bring in the data, mind registers the data, buddhi translates that data. So very interestingly, these three things are very, three types of thoughts are very intertwined. So buddhi, vijñānendriyapañcakaṁ militvā yo bhavati. The buddhi and the five sense organs also make vijñānamayakośaḥ. And when the vijñānamayakośaḥ is active, you have knowledge of the external world. See, knowledge starts happening, and then it is like a circular process. Mind registers the objects. The intellect decides whether you want to go after it or not. The intellect decides whether, this is good enough for you to go after. So if there is doubt or desire, we know manaha aspect is is active. I'll give you an example. When manaha is active, you may ask, what is this? There's a doubt. What is this? You're looking at a house. You're going to buy your dream home. And then you go up to the house and the mind aspect says, what is this? And then I want that house. The desire comes because when you look at it, oh, I look inside that house. What is this? It's a house. But when I go inside, I look at it, then the desire starts arising. I want that house, right? The conclusion along with buddhi, it works. You wait. I want that house happens what? After. The conclusion, it is a house. It is my dream house. That is the conclusion. It is not just a house. It is my dream home. So then the desire kicks in, the thoughts of desire come, and then buddhi again takes over and says, I will do such and such an activity to get that house. I will work overtime. I will do something in order to get that house. So you see how these two things, along with the sense organs, they govern our life actually. In fact, we live only in our mind because all activities, the body only follows what these thoughts tell you, right? If you look at it, body goes after what buddhihi and manaha tell you. So buddhi decides to go with the desire, or it doesn't, it can also choose not to go with the desire. If you're doing tapas, especially if you're doing vak tapas, you need what is telling you, don't eat that extra rasgulla. Don't have that extra gulab jamun. Who is telling you? Your self is telling yourself. Your buddhi is telling your manaha, no. See, that is why when we do tapas, buddhi, the vijñānamayakośaḥ becomes extremely important. And why this buddhi is important, not just the thoughts of definiteness. We need something to back the definite thoughts. And here he says the aham karta, the ahankara, the egoic sense of individuality is also buddhi. So ahankara is this I self, this individual that I think I am. So mind is bringing in data, and I'm constantly, it's analyzing. The buddhi is also analyzing the data, but that I claims the data, right? The I claims the thoughts that are happening. So this is, he says here, this is the cause for samsara. Vijñānamayakośaḥ syātpuṃsaḥ saṃsārakāraṇam. So in the previous, class, we had seen that manaha was the cause for samsara or the cause for liberation. Now he's saying vijnana is also the cause for samsara because, as I have explained, both of them are intricately intertwined. They are together all the time functioning within us. This Vijnanamaya is really the cause for us getting trapped, because this is where the I thought resides. Who gets trapped in samsara? Thoughts don't get trapped by themselves. It is the I that claims the thought that gets trapped. So that is why he says Vijnanamaya is the wielder of the instrument of the mind. If you look at the chariot analogy, the Krishna, it represents this Vijñānamayakośaḥ. He represents the buddhi. He controls the reins of the mind. Mind are the reins. Yes, they direct the sense horses, but without the intellect, the horses will go all over the place. The reins will also go everywhere. It is the I, the doer of the action, who is the resident, Vijñānamayakośaḥ, the resident of the jiva, that manages the instrument of manaha. See, a knife and a saucepan cannot just cut and fry potatoes by themselves. A cook is needed, right? I'm just using a very basic example. You need a cook to fry the potatoes. So Vijñānamayakośaḥ is the cook. The saucepan and the knives are the other manaha, the thoughts and the sense organs as well. So without the karta is the doer. That's why ahankara is such a beautiful word for ego. Ahankara is ahankarta. I am the doer. I am the doer. And why does the doer do? So the doer doesn't do for any reason. Just for some arbitrary reason will the doer do? No. So in fact, the root cause for the doer to do is the experiencer, the enjoyer, bhokta. Essentially, human beings, we're all bhoktas. As bhoktas, we enjoy pleasure. That's why bhokta means, bhokta means the experiencer, but sometimes it is translated as the one who experiences pleasure as well. The one who experiences the pleasure, the bhokta, who undergoes the experiences, is the one for whom the karta is acting. So there's two of you now. There's a karta you, the doer you. Doer you is doing for who? The bhokta you, the experiencer you, the enjoyer you. And this is what the whole life is about, really. The karta me is doing always for the experiencer me. And the karta me is not doing for the miserable experiencer me. Karta me is always doing for the joyful bhokta, right? Karta me wants to have the joyful bhokta. So the karta is feeding things of the external world, experiences, situations from the external world to the bhokta, because he wants the bhokta to be happy. So the bhokta is like the, I would say the king, the royal you, sitting there on the throne. And when the bhokta is unhappy, what does karta do? Quickly run around, make the bhokta happy, make the bhokta happy, doing all the activities in the world, gaining things in the world, whether name, fame, even objects, only so the bhokta you can feel happiness. So without karta, bhokta, I, there is no one to experience samsara, because the ahankara, the I, is what claims all the problems. Who has the problems? Does the body have problems? No. If the leg is broken, leg is broken. Body is not sentient to say, oh, leg is broken. Body doesn't start screaming. Imagine if your leg starts screaming. Anything that happens in your body, that body part starts screaming. How will it be? You will have your whole body will be yelling left and right. Muscle ache here, there, it will be complaining. It is not the body that's sentient that has all the problems. I have the problems. Whatever limitations of the body are there, it is lumped on the karta, the I. It's lumped on the karta bhokta I. I will call it karta bhokta I because that is what it is. I am the one who has the complexes. Body doesn't have complexes. Mind also does not have complexes. Mind simply desires according to your habitual raga, dvesha that you've built up, not only in this lifetime, you brought the vasanas from you from previous lifetimes. He will also talk about that. But you have made a set of likes and dislikes that govern you in life now, and all your interaction in the world is based on these likes and dislikes. So it is the I that has complexes, the I that takes on the limitations of the body. The body is insentient by itself. I claim, when the body is fat, who claims? Body doesn't say, oh, I'm fat, I'm fat. It is I say I'm fat. In fact, body is fat, I is not fat. But this is the subtle thing that we cannot see. That is in knowledge, you see, that the attributes of the body, mind, senses cannot belong to the I that is really you. That false I is claiming all the problems. The false I is claiming all the complexes, and the I, the Kartṛlakṣaṇaḥ I, is responsible for all the joy and sorrow the mind undergoes. So very interestingly, this vijñānamayakośaḥ is introduced, and he goes into more depth in how it functions in the next verse, 185. He says, Anuvraja chit pratibimba shakti. I think this is a Trishtup meter, so we will change the meter here. Guruna hatva Anuvraja chit pratibimba shakti vijnana samyaf prakritirvikaraha jnanakriyavan ahamitya jasram dehendriyadishva bhimanyate brisham dehendriyadishva bhimanyate brisham. So what does he say here? He says, how does the Vijnanamaya function? It is also a product of Prakriti. Prakriti is the material cause for this universe. Prakriti is also another synonym of Maya Shakti. So there are many synonyms, you don't get confused with the Sanskrit words. But he says here, Vijnanamaya is the product of Maya. It is a product of Prakriti. It is Trigunatmika. Trigunatmika is composed of the 3 gunas, made from the 5 subtle elements. 5 gross elements we saw in Tattvabodha go to make your physical body. The 5 subtle elements go to form your Manomayakosha and your Vijnanamayakosha. So Vijnana, once we know it is made of Prakriti, what do we know immediately? Anything made, we say, composed or the cause is primordial matter or Prakriti, anything, it is inert in nature. This is number 1 rule in the Shastra. Anything which is a modification of the primordial matter, Prakriti or Maya Shakti, is inert by nature. It does not have its own sentiency. So what is the uniqueness of Vijnanamaya? Just as with Manomaya, it is able to reflect consciousness. It is able to manifest consciousness. So the components of Antahkarana, Vijnanamaya and is Buddhi, and Manomaya is Manas. They're both included there. These are the components of the Antahkarana. They are able to manifest consciousness. So consciousness can manifest through the intellect. It is like one of those old light bulbs, when the old light bulbs, now everything is all new. When the current is passed through the light bulb, when the light is switched on, switching on the light is like in waking state. When it is switched on, current is going through the light bulb. What happens? The filament lights up the light, lights up the bulb. So Buddhi is like that filament in the light bulb. And when you're asleep, the lights are off. When you're awake up, lights you switch on. Your prarabdha switches the light on. So he says here, pratibimba shaktihi. The I thought reflects consciousness. It is just a thought. It powers the jiva into life. The I thought is the first recipient of the light of consciousness. First thing in the morning, the light of consciousness, what does it do? When the I thought wakes up, it is not your alarm, as I've often said. Your alarm clock doesn't wake you up. Your prarabdha karma wakes you up. And the first thing that wakes up is your I thought. And the first thing that's illuminated by consciousness is that I thought. So I thought lights up, first thing, consciousness lights up that I thought. Then what happens? Pratibimba Shaktihi, it gains that luminescence, it gains that light, Jyotisham, from Atma, and it lights up the Manaha. So Manas is the next to be lit up. That's why it's less subtle than Vijnanamaya. You can see the gradation of koshas as well. Manomaya was discussed first because it was less subtle than Vijnanamaya. The grossest kosha is the Annamaya kosha. So you can see levels of subtlety now we move. Vijnanamaya is more subtle because it is the one lit up by consciousness. And then Pratibimba Shaktihi, the I thought reflects consciousness and brings the jiva to life. Anuvrajat. Anuvrajat means buddhi shines. It lights up other thoughts. It follows. So buddhi lights up other thoughts. Then the whole body gets lit up. Body also gets up, starts functioning. And it is like another example, if you take, it is like focus light is buddhi. The focus light which makes the I thought come alive is buddhi. The floodlight that lights up everything is Atma, consciousness. So Atma is like the floodlight, buddhi is like a focus light. And who produces the light? Consciousness, the current. Without current, both focus light, without current, the focus light also can't light up the or also cannot be lit up. The floodlight is like Atma. It lights up everything, and even the focus light is consumed by the floodlight. So here he says the buddhi shines because of Atma, and then it lights up the manaha, everything. And jnana kriyavan, in this verse, because of self-consciousness, what happens? The individual gains knowledge of external things. Jnana kriyavan means you start your activities. Kriyavan, the one who does the activities, you start your activities. And what do you do the activities for? As I said, you do them to feel whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole and complete. So the first identification is the physical level. Then the senses take over, then the mind, then the intellect. So the first identification is the other way around, the intellect first, then the mind, then the senses, and then your physical activity begins. And how is the individual identified with this? He says, Brisham. Brisham means intensely. I'm intensely identified with this Vijnanamaya kosha. It is a inescapable connection, unbreakable connection. So next he will go on to say again some more properties of the Vijnanamaya kosha. He says, Anadikalo yamaham swabhavaha jivas samasta vyavaharavodha karoti karmanyapi purva vasanaha punyanya punyani cha tatphalani. This Vijnanamaya kosha, as I said, makes the body-mind-sense complex into an individual being because of Atma's consciousness. Atma lends existence to it. The individual is nothing, actually. The jiva, if we look at ourselves, all we are is the reflection of consciousness through the intellect, and the body comes alive. So he says here, aham swabhavaha. Aham swabhavaha means everything ends up in that I notion. The world revolves around this I. Each individual is the same because everybody's journey in life is for what? For one's own happiness, for one's own joy. Along the way, we may make others happy also, but we don't know. We make others sad also. We do all sorts of things along the way, but everything ultimately revolves around aham swabhavaha, around that I. It revolves around the I thought. And then he says, when did this jiva individual begin? Anadikaloyam, from beginningless time. You see, time has no meaning in the existence of an individual. Why? Because we are recycled. We are cyclical. You know, even the body, mind, senses are recycled all the time. So there is no such thing as time in the life of jiva. See, in pralaya, the end of time, we say the end of days, pralaya, it's only for us the end of a cycle of creation. What happens in that cycle? The jiva becomes potential. The jiva is in potential form, unmanifest condition, but your karma and your individuality still exist. In unmanifest condition, you still exist. And when the next srishti happens, creation happens, what happens? You come into existence in next creation with another set of karmas. Your karma is already in storage, unmanifest condition. Then you come with another set of karmas. So time actually has no meaning in the existence of an individual. We have to understand. So anadikala means nobody can tell when you came into existence. People ask that question. That you came into existence itself is falsified in knowledge, right? How can you come into existence if you already always existed as consciousness? If consciousness is beyond 3 periods of time, how can anything come into existence and go out of existence? It cannot. So it is as though, individuality is as though. You're as though born into a particular body, mind, senses, and that as though death happens, but there is no death for the truth, because it is trikalepi tishtati yat tishtati iti satyam. It is in all 3 periods of time. And here he says, samasta vyavahara vodha. Once you come into the body, you have to interact. He alone, this jiva, this individual, this one who feels I am so small, I'm limited, the one with all the issues, the problems, this jiva is the one who interacts in life, who transacts with the external world. And what is this transaction? The I thought alone transact. Without I thought, can you transact? In deep sleep, where there is no I thought, where is transactional reality for you? Transactional reality is only there when I is there to transact. Otherwise, you are in deep sleep or you're dead. There's only 2 other states you can be without I thought: death or deep sleep. So we have to have the I thought to transact. But what is it? This I thought, we don't recognize this I thought is an actor. The I thought plays the roles in life. The problem is I don't recognize I is the actor, and I thought suffers with misidentification, wrong identification, and it takes itself to be the role it is playing in life. Vedanta is only about this, understanding that this I cannot be you, the I identified with the roles. So he says here, the one who is identified, punyani apunyani karmani chakaroti. This I thought, identified with the role, does all the actions. And what kind of actions? He says, punyani apunyani. Negative actions as well as positive actions, right? Negative actions, negative activities are what? Activities which are against dharma, we call negative activities. And why are they called negative? Because they produce negative results in your life. Negative only comes when you see it for your life, right? If you see apunyani means I do an action against dharma, it is definitely going to give an unpleasant result for me. So if I know the action is going to produce negative result, this is another thing. Will I do it? No. I only do actions which I call negative actions against dharma, thinking I will gain happiness from it. No human being will intentionally do an activity knowing it is going to lead to unpleasant result. So here we have to understand, I ignorantly act, I do negative actions, and I think it is going to make me happy. And he says here, when actions get, when you see the results of actions happening, certain activities give you pleasure, give rise to pleasure, not just in this life. You've been doing it in many, many lives. Suppose, some children are born with certain likes, very strong likes, these prodigies. They're born like a 4-year-old playing excellent sonata or masterpiece on the piano, can do all of this on the piano, and they love the musical instruments. You find children like that with prodigies. How have they developed that like? It is, we call, through vasanas. They have cultivated that piano playing in past lives. So lifetime after lifetime of piano playing has led to a habitual vasana, which has manifested in this life in the form of a prodigy. So that child becomes a prodigy. And in this life, we think, because we only see this one life, right? We don't see the past lives of these prodigies. In this life, when we see these children, we think, wow, amazing. We think of it as a miracle. Actually, in Shastra, nothing is a miracle. Everything is very objectively seen. You become what you feel. You become what you practice. You become what you think. Remember this, because when you regularly do something again and again, you will develop a vasana, a habit. That vasana is your baggage that goes with you in next life. That is what you carry with you. You don't carry any other baggage. You carry your baggage load of vasanas. And these vasanas vary from individual to individual, jiva to jiva. That is what makes us all unique, right? So, purva vasanaha san, he says here, governed by vasanas, the person does activities in life. And what are these vasanas? We put under 2 headings. That's why Krishna talks about this a lot. Ragas and dveshas. Your binding likes and dislikes are because of vasanas you have cultivated. So either in this life or past life, if you've cultivated vasanas, your vasanas drive you to action, meaning you will follow your likes, you will run away from your dislikes. Then tat palani bhunkte, he says here, you have to eat your fruits. Your fruits that accrue to you because of the activities you take, according to your vasanas, according to your raga dvesha, the activities you undertake, you have to fulfill your karma palam. You have to live out that karma palam, and you don't know what it's going to be. You don't know, like that bird in Mundaka Upanishad on that tree, whether you're going to get a bitter fruit, whether you're going to get a sour fruit, whether you're going to get a sweet fruit. Whatever fruit you're going to get, you have to eat it. Unfortunately, that is what is called karma. Karma palam prarabdha karma. Whatever fruits we get, we have to consume it. We have earned it as results of our actions in the past. And until those fruits last, if they still keep growing back on the tree, there will be fruits on the tree. You can't exhaust all the fruits. If the fruits are there and you're still eating, and then the bird dies off. Imagine, it is flying around the tree, tasting all the fruits. And the bitter ones it spits out. The sweet ones it consumes. The sour ones it spits out. It likes certain flavor only. So it consumes the flavor it likes, spitting out the other fruits. Then suddenly bird dies off. Poor bird. The fruits on the tree are still there. It's born again, another bird in another bird body. Then it starts flying around the tree, eating the fruits again. So until what you have earned in the, in this life, what you have earned as a result of your past action, that prarabdha, until it's exhausted, you will have to keep flying around the tree, trying the fruits, unless you realize you are the bird that is watching. When you understand you're the bird that is watching, who is flying around? I thought is flying around. See, you shift your vision to the bird who in Mundaka Upanishad, the one that is observing the other bird flying around the tree. What happens? You recognize that I never consume fruits anyway. I'm already full. Let me watch this I thought going here and there doing all this activity. But I'm untouched by that I thought. So what kind of phalas does he have to exhaust? Adi Shankaracharya says in the next verse, he says, Bhunkte vichitra swapiyonishu vrajan ayati niryatyada urdvameshaha asyeva vijñānamayasya jagrat swapnadya vasta sukha dukkha bhogaha. Sukha dukkha bhogaha. This meter is a bit difficult. Asyeva vijñānamayasya jagrat swapnadyavasta sukha dukkha bhogaha. Okay. You can use the Gita Trishtup meter or any other tune. So it is Trishtup. Some verses are in different meters. So here he says, what kind of experiences does this Jiva bird have? Now I'm saying the Jiva bird because linking to Mundaka, all different types of results. He says in this verse that I thought experiences all different types of results. And all of these results boil down to two things, because they boil down to your interpretation of the events in your life, actually. Because of your interpretation of the events, all our experiences boil down to two. The situations vary. Our whole karma phalam from person to person varies, but your interpretation of what you have to experience boils down to two experiences in life. Happy, unhappy. That's it. Happy, unhappy, boiled down to two experiences, which is due to your interpretation of what happens to you in life. What the spiritual path, in spiritual journey, what the teachers, acharyas, and what Vedanta helps you to examine is your interpretation totally correct? Is your interpretation of any situation in your life the absolute reality? You may think you have made it the absolute reality, but Shastra gives you another perspective on your absolute reality you think you're experiencing. Shastra and our rishis always say, how do you know that what is unpleasant in this moment may not lead to something pleasant in future? How do you know that? You think only by this what you're experiencing now, you label it unpleasant, then you suffer with sorrow because of your interpretation of this situation in the present moment. You think this should not be happening to me. This is sorrowful. That sorrow is experienced, remember, due to your interpretation of it. This is where Vedanta knowledge should kick in. Maybe what is happening in this moment may be good for me in future. Maybe what I am going through right now can be the biggest blessing for me in future. I don't have the knowledge that Ishvara has, right? To know what is going to come to me in future. And maybe what is pleasant now, what I experience as pleasant, I'm so attached to it because it's giving me so much joy. I'm so attached to that person. I'm so attached to the situation. It is making me so happy. I feel so secure in this moment with that situation. I feel so complete. How do you know that's not going to lead to unpleasant in future for you? We don't know. We just don't know. We think we know. That's the problem. As soon as you think you know, you suffer from what you interpret of the situation. You think you know the situation, then you will definitely suffer with your reaction to the situation because you don't see that what is happening in every moment of the life is actually catered for your spiritual evolution. Whatever the order that is Ishvara is unfolding in each jiva's life is for the evolution, spiritual evolution of each jiva, each individual. See, Darwin only talked about the physical evolution. In Vedanta, we talk about sukshma evolution, the evolution of the subtle body. That's more important evolution than the physical evolution. So this evolution is of the spiritual life means non-interpretation of situations. Remember this. Non-interpretations of what is happening, that is called objectivity. Swamiji often used to say, bring in objectivity into life. What is the meaning of objectivity? I don't interpret immediately based on my likes and dislikes. Remember that also. All interpretation is based on my likes and dislikes. I like this, so I interpret as a happy situation. I don't like this, I interpret as an unhappy situation. If I understand this trick in life, I will never go up and down with the results. And this is what Karma Yoga teaches also. So he says here, Vichitra swapi yonishu vrajan. This jiva, not only in this life experiences result, this jiva, ayati niryati, it moves. He comes, he goes. He moves from body to body. He moves from womb to womb. The womb that you enter next birth determines also what body you get. You can't enter an elephant womb and hope for a human body, right? So the womb that you enter, the sukshma enters, will determine the type of body you get. So what womb you get depends on the list of karmas you have to exhaust in next janma. Let us pray there is no next janma for people who are in this class, who have come to Vedanta study. But this is what happens. You have another list of karmas to exhaust. And he says here, ayati niryati. You come and you go. You can also take, he says, different births in urdhva meshaha, different lokas. That's another possibility. You may go 7 up, 7 down. Depending on what karmas you've done, you could go to the nether worlds, so you could go to the higher worlds. These higher worlds are just levels of, different levels of happiness, extra levels, and lower worlds are decreasing levels of unhappiness, of sorrow. So this I thought that is reborn can go anywhere after, right? This is part of your karma palam. He says this is also the results of your karma determine what womb you enter next janma, what kind of body type you have, whatever you have to go through. It also determines what place you go to. You could be born on earth, you could be born in Swarga, you could be born in Naraka, you could anywhere. So vijñānamayakośaḥ is key to understanding this samsara journey. Vijñānamayakośaḥ also, he says, asyeva vijñānamayasya jagrat swapnadya vasta sukha dokha bhogaha. This vijñānamayakośaḥ is what undergoes all the 3 states of experience. It is the I that goes into sleep, the I that starts dreaming. Even though that I that dreams may be a different I from your waking state, it may be a different I. You have a ahankara, dream ahankara there. You have a dream world there. You could be in a different body in the dream. It's very amazing. You see, in the dream, you live through the similar experiences of waking state, but you could be a totally different I, which shows what? I thought is false. It is not you. This I thought that goes through waking state. So he says that it is the I that goes through waking state. I in waking state is fully awake. It is fully active. It is fully relating with the transactional reality, transactional world. And when the I goes into deep sleep state, what happens? There's no I there. It is sleeping. There is no complex in deep sleep. Nothing, no problems. You forget your family even. The very child you adored in waking state is totally forgotten. Anything could have happened to that child while you were snoring away, right? That's attachments of waking state also become asleep in deep sleep state. because I is asleep. We notice that it is the I that takes up attachment. It is the I that thinks it has me and mine and all of this. That when that I is no longer there, you continue to exist in deep sleep, but I doesn't have problems. It doesn't have attachments. It doesn't have bills to pay. It is not worried. It doesn't have fear for future. We love deep sleep for this. It is an escape from that I with all the problems, identification that happens naturally. He says it is a natural identification, but wrong identification. That's why this Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ Tattvabodha make you really think about what is happening in life, make you really think about what we are doing. At least this much we examine a bit more what life is all about. So in the next, we have a couple more verses. I'll finish off next week. But there's a lot to think about in today's class, and you will see very clearly what is being unfolded by Adi Shankaracharya here. Very beautiful. So once this I thought, this is the key here. Once you understand the I thought, the karta bhokta you is not you, is a false you, that you exist despite this I thought, then you falsify the I thought. A person who has falsified this I is called a jnani, is an enlightened person. It is only simply a question of falsifying that actor, understanding that you are much more. So we will see more Vijnanamaya, and I will finish with Anandamaya also next week. Okay. Hari Om. Namaste to all. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste. Have a very peaceful week ahead. May the I have a very peaceful week. Right.